The War Within's first major content update arriving with patch 11.1 set to drop when Season 2 begins sometime soon. We'll be taking a look at all the mounts that will be available to us when that does come. Though do take it with a grain of salt that we don't have a map or a zone of the Undermine as of now since PTR isn't out yet, but when that does come, we'll be giving an update for all of this information. The first mount we'll talk about is going to be the Crimson Armored Growler, which is going to be sold for 6,500 resonance crystals, which we'll be able to buy from Rocco Razboom. The next mount up is going to be the Violet Armored Growler, and this one will be sold by one of the vendors in the new location named Smack's Top Skimmer for 8,125 resonance crystals. As for the next mount, it'll be the Top Skimmer Special, also sold from the same vendor Smack's, but this time it'll be sold for 11,375 resonance crystals. It's safe to assume though, these are going to be the Renown mounts sold by the up-and-coming cartels when the Undermine patch goes live, but we don't have information as to what cartel or what renown level you have to be in order to purchase the new mounts. Moving on, the next mount is called the Mean Green Flying Machine, and this one is going to be sold for 11,375 crystals from lab assistants Lasley. Next one up is going to be the Blackwater Shredder Deluxe MK2, sold for 11,375 crystals as well, but this will be from another vendor named Boatswain Hardy. Next up on our list is going to be the Ochre Delivery Rocket, sold for 11,375 resonance crystals from Shreds to Scrapper. Now as for the next mount, this one is going to be yet another Wave Shredder, and this one is going to be called the Bronze Goblin Wave Shredder, sold by Sitch Lowdown for 11,375 crystals. Now those are going to be the vendor mounts that we'll be able to purchase when Undermine goes live. I'll be moving on to dungeon mounts that we'll be able to get from the upcoming Undermine Dungeons content. The first one we're going to talk about is going to be the Salvage Goblin Gazillionaire's Flying Machine, which will apparently drop from Galegio Garbage. The next mount is going to be the Personalized Goblin Scrapper, and this will drop from Gunk Covered Thingy, but yeah, that's about all the information we can get off of these two mounts. The next mounts on the list are going to be dropped from raids or achievements associated with the new raids coming in Undermine. The first one we'll talk about is going to be Prototype ASMR, which will drop from the raid boss Chrome King Gallywix, which is supposedly the last boss of that raid. With the data mine data, currently it is said to drop from either LFR, normal, and it can even drop from the heroic difficulty of that raid. The next mount up is going to be the Big G, which will drop from the same boss Chrome King Gallywix, though only from mythic difficulty. The last mount on this raid list is going to be achievement based, and the first one we'll talk about is going to be the Junk Maestro's Magnetomech, rewarded from the achievement Glory of the Liberation of the Undermine Raider. To complete this achievement, apparently we'll need to complete 2 of the raid achievements for the liberation of Undermine. The first one of these is called 1 Rank Higher, requiring us to defeat the one-armed bandit after activating 1 chip defense machine in normal difficulty or higher. The next achievement is going to be called Hold My Gear, which requires us to defeat Vexy and the gear grinders after crashing a bike into objects on normal difficulty or higher. These are the things we'll need to crash a bike into: a dumpster, a trash pile, a tire sack, a tool rack, and a storage crate. Moving on to the next portion of the video, now I'm going to talk about the Season 2 Mythic Plus mounts. The first one I'll talk about is called the Crimson Shredder Tank, requiring us to complete the achievement The War Within Keystone Master Season 2. Now as for the next mount, this is going to be rewarded from the Season 2 Delve content, and the mount is called Delver's Gob Trotter, requiring us to complete the quest Seasonal Start. Now for the next mounts on the list, these are going to be PvP mounts. There's going to be a total of 2 of them, and one of these have a Horde only and an Alliance only version. The first PvP mount is going to be the Vicious Electro Eel, which will be rewarded from Season 2 Rated Arena and Battlegrounds. Apparently we'll have a red and blue version, which are associated to their respective factions, so if you're Horde you'll get the red one, if you're Alliance you'll get the blue one. As for the last PvP mount on this list, this one is going to be the Prize Gladiator Spellbat, rewarded from the achievement Gladiator, The War Within Season 2, which will require us to do rated arenas. Now we're moving on to the last part of the video. Here we'll be talking about the Trading Post mounts, which will most likely drop when Season 2 begins, sometime this first quarter of 2025. Other than that, we don't have information on how much they cost or what date they'll be released exactly, so keep those in mind. The first mounts we'll talk about are going to be Dark Moon Chargers. There's going to be 4 variants or colors. These are going to be the Midnight Dark Moon Charger, which is going to be this grayish armored horse with the Dark Moon Fair flag mounted on the back. The next one is going to be the Violet Dark Moon Charger, which has a purple and green tint instead, but otherwise the same make and model. The third one is going to be the Lively Dark Moon Charger, which has a green overall theme about it. And as for the fourth and last mount, this is going to be the Snowy Dark Moon Charger, which looks the best of them all in my personal opinion. The next mount I'll talk about are going to be the Butterfly mounts, which also have 4 colors or variants, just like the previous mounts I mentioned. The first one we'll go over is the Pearlescent Butterfly, which is this royal blue purplish color. The second one is going to be the Spring Butterfly, which is somewhat the same royal blue color but tinged with the lime green. The third one is going to be the Midnight Butterfly, and the fourth and final one is called the Ruby Butterfly, which is this beautiful red color variant. The next 2 mounts are going to be the Emerald Snail and the Shimmer Mist Free Runner. Now, before we end the video, there's apparently a mount called the Unstable Rocket. As of today, we don't know how we'll get our hands on the mounts. It could be from the Undermine dungeon or raid content, or perhaps from an achievement. We'll never know until patch 11.1 PTR comes out, and when we do find out, we will provide an additional updated video for this mount specifically. But that's about it for this video. We'll be keeping you updated on the mounts when we get more information. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.